Hi guys, good morning. How are you doing today? I'm Lucía, Chief Nutritionist at Obesity Control Center, and today we are going to be talking about hair loss. So yeah, all of us want a head full of hair, right? So please give me a heart button so I know that you're here. Thank you, by the way, for stopping by, and make sure to address any questions you may have so then we can cover the whole topic. So hair loss is commonly associated with men. However, women make up 40% of the hair loss sufferers. So it's such a common problem that it is unsurprising that people are looking for remedies instead of looking at the root cause. So we're going to be talking about the main reasons behind hair loss. So please tag someone that you think that should be here and know about this. Hi Melissa, good to have you here. Thank you so much for taking the time. So the main reasons behind hair loss are poor nutrition, which is something that I'm going to be talking deeper in a minute. Hormonal imbalances, so that could be pregnancy, that could be PCOS, that could be menopause, and of course thyroid disorders. Another cause would be genetics, for which there isn't much that we can do, but the good news is that nutrition can't alter the gene expression. So as long as you have good nutrition, proper nutrition, and you're trying to compensate the genetics, hey, it may happen. I mean, we can't validate that 100% because that nutrition could also be dealing with other type of genetics, and your body has priorities. So hair loss, although it's an obvious symptom of a body struggling, is pretty much the last thing that your body will be concerned about. So if there isn't enough nutrition for the internal organs, then your body's going to just care less about your hair. And the last reason for that will be environmental reasons. So what is that? Environmental reasons could be temporary stress. So that could be a surgery, any type of surgery. It could be a nail surgery, and it could be the bariatric surgery. So that's temporary. And as you're losing the hair, you can also see that it's growing right back up. So that shouldn't last longer than 6 months, and it's kind of common for that to happen at 3 months after the surgery. But then again, it's temporary, and that is called telogen effluvium. And then another reason for environmental, or another factor as an environmental reason for hair loss would be severe stress, chronic inflammation, and autoimmune conditions. So for example, alopecia areata is an autoimmune condition, but it comes from severe stress. So then you have this stress that becomes chronic inflammation, and then chronic inflammation becomes an autoimmune condition. So now we have this alopecia, but it could also be Hashimoto's, or it could be any other autoimmune condition. So severe stress is something that affects the whole body. It just doesn't, it doesn't go directly into hair loss, but it may end up becoming an autoimmune condition right there in your hair. So nutrition can also make a difference in environmental factors. So if you have, say, the temporary stress coming from surgery, but you're paying good attention to your nutrition, then that is going to be resolved pretty fast. If there is a circumstance in which there is severe stress or chronic inflammation or an autoimmune condition, even say Hashimoto's, because then again, that's also a hormonal imbalance, right? From the thyroid not being able to work. So now you have two of the factors for hair loss. Now you have the hormonal imbalance and you have the environmental factors. So yes, you can use nutrition to get your thyroid into working better. You can use nutrition to heal the digestive tract, so then it won't trigger autoimmune responses. So then you don't have the flare-ups into, say, psoriasis, or then again, the Hashimoto's or the alopecia. So yeah, we can use nutrition to modulate that response. Hi Jennifer, it's so good to have you in here. Damaris, is also very good to have you in here. Then again, tag someone if you think that they should be watching this, okay? And what are the top nutrients to have? All right, number one, that will be protein. Protein intake. 90% of your hair depends on protein. So you need to be aware of how much protein you're having. It is common for those patients who are losing hair that they are not tracking their protein intake. So if you are a patient who has a normal stomach, you don't need to be that much aware, because most likely you'll get there. It'll be very difficult for you to have a protein deficiency, but then it could happen. So then just be, conscious about that. But if you are a bariatric patient, if you have had a weight loss surgery, or an obesity surgery, or a metabolic surgery, then you need to be concerned about protein intake, and you need to count it. Because I know that I get, those phone calls saying, Lucia, I'm having protein all day long. I wake up in the, early in the morning, and the first thing I have is protein, and throughout the day, all I'm having is protein. Okay, great, that's good. But how much are you having? Oh, I don't know, but I'm eating protein. How much? Because if you are below 60 grams of protein, it doesn't matter if you're having protein all day long, because you are not meeting the protein intake. So then we need to figure out strategies to help you meet the protein intake, because that has to be met. That is the least nutrition you can give to your body. Protein is the building block for tissues, including hair. And it's also the building block for hormones. So you don't want to end up with hormonal imbalances. And it's the building block for enzymes. So you want to make sure that you have enough enzymes to, say, digest your food and be able to absorb the nutrients, right? So then protein is a must. It's also the building block for your immune system, for the white cells. So then again, protein intake is a must. It's the most important nutrient you should have. Then again, if you're looking for remedies, if you're looking for shampoos, if you're looking for lotions, but you're not paying attention to the root cause, you are not going to be able to get your hair back. And another environmental factor, remember that I said the environmental factors also affect your hair. Well, when we're talking about chronic inflammation, the culprit of chronic inflammation is sugar and chemicals. So if you're including chemicals, those chemicals, oh my God, I'm sorry. Including those chemicals found in shampoos or in lotions, then you are triggering chronic inflammation. Give me 1 second, I need to sip a little bit of water. I don't know what happened there. Thank you. All right, coming back to the subject. So, chronic inflammation comes from, chemicals and sugar. So that is something that should be avoided, and you can find that in remedies. So by trying to fix up something, you are also increasing those factors that affect your metabolism, your cell function, including, those related to hair. So as a bariatric patient, you need to count protein intake. 60 grams is the minimum you can have. Protein intake is the least nutrition you can give to your body. And as a woman, it's usually between 60 and 80. And as a man, it should be anywhere between 80 and above 100. It really depends on the muscle mass. For us women, it's hard to get as much muscle as males, right? So we are limited to 60 to 80. An excess of protein converts into glucose, and then that converts into love handles. So you need to be right there, within that range. No more than 80, no less than 60. Once you meet protein intake, then you can start including, the other nutrients. Say, the vegetables, the fruit, and the fats. So the formula of nutrition stays the same. That formula is the protein, fiber, and fats. protein, fiber, and fats, my dear. You'll start with the protein, then you fill up with vegetables, and you use the fats to give vegetables the flavor. So the formula is the same, and that works with hair as well. Now, the second nutrient that is very important for your hair, especially for hair growth and for the density of your hair, would be omega-3s. So it's important to eat on oily fish, to include some walnuts, to include the yolks of eggs. Don't ever throw the yolks of eggs. Not only because there's most of the nutrition in the yolk, but also because the whites of the eggs may interrupt the biotin absorption. So then that could lead you to biotin deficiency. And a biotin deficiency is related with hair loss, but it's not that common. So we don't recommend to supplement with biotin because there are other nutrients to take care of first, and among those there are established deficiencies. Biotin deficiency is very, very rare, so you don't need to take those supplements. All right. So coming back to the omega-3s, you need the oily fish, and you need some nuts and seeds. Those are high in omega-3s, the chia seeds, the walnut seeds, the hemp seeds, of course, the yolk of the eggs, and supplement. Even if you have a normal stomach, I mean, all of us as human beings, we need a lot of omega-3s. And nowadays, we are not having enough. Not only that, we are using too many omega-6 from vegetable oils, processed vegetable oils. And omega-6 are pro-inflammatory, chronic inflammation, hair loss, right? So then you don't want the omega-6 and you want the omega-3s. So to compensate the high intake of omega-6, we need to boost the omega-3s and if possible, reduce the omega-6. So that should get into a better ratio. Years ago, thousands of years ago, the ratio between omega-3s and omega-6 was 1:1. And that's what your body can tolerate. It can tolerate some pro-inflammatory triggers as omega-6 as long as you have enough omega-3s. But nowadays, the ratio is for omega-3s 1 and for omega-6 40. So that's highly inflammatory, all right? That's the reason why it's still important to supplement with a normal stomach or from having metabolic or obesity surgery. You need the omega-3s. When you supplement, you need to make sure that you are supplementing with the very clean omega-3s, because some omega-3s are high in mercury. And those omega-3s that you should be supplementing with should be tested for dioxins, pesticides, rancidity, oxidity values, for glyphosate. Here we go again with that pesticide, that nasty pesticide. And you should have only omega-3s. No omega-6, no omega-9s, only omega-3s. Hi, Sahaya. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing right your name. Can I just take pills? To get the omega-3s, yeah. But what about the other nutritional components that you find in food? When we're talking about food, we're not talking only about one nutrient. So it is important to include food as a whole, so then you can get the vast array of nutrients that are found in that food. But we all should be taking pills in addition to, not pills, supplements, in addition to the food. And that is why we recommend our bariatric patients to include the monthly kit from Vitalev, because it includes a very clean omega-3s. It's so clean that I recommended that to my daughter when she was pregnant. Yeah, my grandma. So I trust fully on that. If you don't have a good supplement, then it's even better not to supplement. No, that's chronic inflammation, remember? So that's it. Sahaya, I don't eat just coffee. Oh, my dear, most of the people are surviving on coffee and sugar. So I hope you survive enough. That's not good enough, my dear. If you want to live longer, if you want to live better, you need to include food, okay? So if you are a patient of ours and you can't get enough nutrition from food, then make sure to email me so we can work out with you a personal plan to make sure that you are well nourished. Nutrition is a must to stay alive. You can't go around it. So we gotta get there, right? Okay, so we talked, it's protein, omega-3s. And another top nutrient will be zinc. Zinc deficiencies are common, and zinc can help accelerate the hair follicle recovery. So if you have telogen effluvium, then having some zinc can get you there. That is why most of the supplements that are for hair loss, or those supplements that are, say, biotin, they usually have zinc in it. Now, within the supplement protocol that we recommend, there is enough zinc. And here's the tricky part. If you have, in addition, the hair loss supplements with more zinc on it, supplemental zinc, the excess of supplemental zinc leads to the same thing that you're trying to avoid, hair loss. It doesn't happen from food. It happens from excess supplements on zinc. So if you're a patient of ours, you know that you should be having the monthly kit from VitaLeft, and that includes enough zinc. So you shouldn't be taking any other supplements. Also, research, there's not even one piece of research that matches biotin with, supplemental biotin with hair loss. There is research that says that those that have vitamin deficiency could have hair loss, but that's rare. That's not common. So it's just a marketing trick. You shouldn't be taking, the biotin or the hair loss supplements. As a bariatric patient, you have enough in the monthly kit. Okay, and then we have, but of course, you also want to get the zinc from real food, because there's not, you wouldn't lose the hair from having too much zinc from food. And where do you find the zinc? You find that mostly in nuts and seeds. And pumpkin seeds are really high in zinc. And zinc is also necessary to balance hormones. You need zinc to synthesize hormones. So zinc deficiency, those are common, which deficiency is related to thyroid disorders, and not only the hair loss, and it's also related to PCOS and hormonal imbalances. So then have your nuts and seeds, and just take the protocol that we're asking you to have on a monthly basis. Please let me know if some of these relates to you. We are CEOs of our bodies, of our health, and usually we disregard what we think is true. So if you have poor nutrition, if you have a hormonal imbalance, if you have a genetic factor, or if you have an environmental factor, it'd be nice if you can write that on the comments below, so then I'll know where you're getting. Another nutrient, I'm going to be talking about 6 nutrients. So we already have the protein, the omega-3s, the zinc, and yes, you need some B complex, which includes biotin. You need to eat on that, and that's easily found in egg, beef, chicken, and avocados. So if you are measuring your protein intake, then most likely, along with the protein from animal sources, you are going to be getting the B complexes. And also the protocol that we ask you to have includes some B complexes. So that is right. To highlight, you don't need to get additional biotin, not from supplements. And even your gut, the bacteria in your gut produce biotin for you. So instead of supplementing with biotin, because as a bariatric patient, you're already taking enough supplements, right? And biotin is not needed, in a supplemental form. But if you feed your bacteria, say with fermented foods, the sauerkraut, the kimchi, the tofu, the natto, the miso, those foods that we are not used of having much, but those do feed your bacteria. So if you feed the bacteria are going to do it for you. They're going to be producing biotin and other nutrients. So feed your bacteria instead of getting the biotin in a supplemental form. Tyler, you're also asking if almond is good. Almond is good in general, but when we're talking about nuts and seeds, it's best to talk about variety. You find the most nutrition in the variety of food. So is it okay to have almond? Yeah, but it would be better to have some Brazil nuts, some walnuts, some pecans, some hemp seeds, some chia seeds, some pumpkin seeds, some almonds as well, right? And just sort of have 2 ounces of that variety. So each is going to be providing different nutrients. And among those, you will find the zinc. All right, so going back to the B complex and the biotin, you can also find that in yolks. So then again, don't throw away the yolks. Never throw away the yolks, okay, of your eggs. The 5th nutrient I'm going to be talking about is iron. So anemia is very well related to hair loss, okay? So that is a nutritional deficiency and it should be compensated. So you need to be eating foods that are rich in iron, and mostly those are animal sourced. And some seeds that include iron will be sacha inchi seeds or walnuts. And when you eat, of course, and legumes, black beans especially are high in iron. And when you eat iron, it's always best to include some lemon or anything that is acidic, like vinegar. So if you have, say, some beef and a salad with a vinaigrette, then you're going to be having the acidic part of it that will help you absorb the iron. So those kind of go together. So I'm saying the 5th nutrient is iron, but it's actually iron with vitamin C. Even if you just put a little bit of lemon on top of your beef, or a little bit of pesto. Pesto is really good. It's high in greens, which also have iron. The B complexes as well. They have fiber, but they also have vitamin C. So if you have some cilantro, some parsley, some rosemary, some basil, then that will help you to absorb the iron. Hi Pamela, hi Karina Torres, how are you? Oh, I'm so glad that you guys are here. So please let me know if you're loving this content. Give me the heart button. I would really love to know what is it that you want to hear about. There's much more that we can cover nutrition is a very wide subject to talk about, which is a good thing. So then we can be together more often and talk about things that matter to you. All right, and the 6th nutrient, that will be vitamin D. Why vitamin D? Because it helps in hormone and immune regulation. So that's a whole subject, but vitamin D deficiencies are very prevalent. And some people who have autoimmune conditions don't even know that they have a vitamin D deficiency. And if they improve, their serum targets of vitamin D, then the autoimmune condition can be modulated. So if you have any autoimmune condition, and then again, thyroid disorders, or alopecia, if you have any of that, then check your serum vitamin D and make sure that you're not deficient. That should probably be the next topic, vitamin D, because we really need to talk a lot more about that. But at least make sure that you are not deficient. So that pretty much covers the topic for today. Make sure that you do not have poor nutrition, because nutrition helps modulate hormones, it helps modulate chronic inflammation, it helps modulate environmental factors. So it can't do much with genetics, it can do a little, But pretty much in anything else, in all the other 4 factors that we talked as root causes of hair loss, nutrition has great impact. What about cramps, is Tahala asking, mostly in the night. Is this side effects from deficiency? Yeah, it is. It could be magnesium deficiency. So you're also constipated and you are, having hair loss, but you also have brittle nails. And if you have anxiety, if you have depression, then those are signs and symptoms of magnesium deficiency. And others, not just magnesium, but others. So, and magnesium does have to do some with hair loss, sort of. It's an indirect way because magnesium has more than 300 functions in your body. And one of those is related with hormone balances. So we can say that, magnesium deficiency could be a secondary cause for hair loss, but not as direct as protein deficiency, omega-3 deficiency, iron deficiency, B complex deficiencies, zinc, and vitamin D. So there you go. You have your top 6 nutrients that you should be getting first from whole foods. And if you are a bariatric patient, you also need to get the supplements in. So that's what you should be having, and what you should be avoiding is sugar and chemicals. Remember, sugar will always create a hormonal imbalance, and chemicals will just lead to chronic inflammation. Alrighty, so, last question. What do I need to eat? Pretty much, mainly, anything that flies, walks, or swims. That is the protein source, and animal sources are nutrient-dense foods, especially in minerals like zinc and iron. So if you have a whole egg, if you have beef, if you have chicken, then, bison and rabbit and, anything, again, that flies, walks, or swims should be part of your diet. And omega-3s are found mainly in fishy oils and then the walnuts and nuts and seeds. And vitamin D, for vitamin D, then again, the yolks of the eggs, and of course have some exposure to the sun. But most likely, most people need to supplement on vitamin D. So that's what you need to be eating. Protein first, vegetables, and fats. So that's the formula, right? Protein, fiber, and fats. Protein, fiber, and fats. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you every 3rd Thursday right here live on Facebook. Take good care, and until then, bye-bye.